Jak Beula, you're the man behind the famous BME Blue Plaque scheme and Nubian Jak board game. Can you tell us a little about what inspired you down this road and what else the Nubian Jak Community Trust entails?
Well, Nubian Jak is a series of brands that include Nubian Jak. So there's an educational academy, there's a board game, there's a book, of course there's an educational app, there is a series of blue plaques and bronze plaques, but also there is a war memorial. So it encapsulates a number of different mediums and activities, all to do with the positive enrichment and upliftment of Black global achievement.
Where can the board game be purchased at present, and can we expect an app version in the future?
That's a very good question because I sold Nubian Jak in Toys R Us and Hamleys. Currently we're out of stock, unfortunately, but you can get a limited edition online at nubianjak.com. Jak has no C, we gave our C to charity. However, it did sell, as I said, in mainstream outlets. It did very well, and we have diversified into an app, as you've just asked. And we have decided on the 12th of September 2015 to launch the African American edition of the app, because we believe the African American market is probably one of the most financially lucrative place to start with an app of this magnitude. And it looks at the global contributions African Americans have made to the world.
How many plaques have you installed around London, and are there any outside of London at present, or any you have planned for the future?
Excellent. So we have 34 plaques in total at the moment. I started working with English Heritage, who have now done 800 plus plaques. My aim in life is to obviously supersede 800 plaques, which sadly will never happen because they started in the 1800s. But yes, of course we have plaques outside London. We have a plaque in Luton, we have a plaque in Birmingham to Malcolm X, we have a plaque in Nottingham to George Africanus, who started the first acting agency over in England. But in London, probably our highest profile plaque is the one on the Foreign Office, Her Majesty's Foreign Office. So Queen Lizzie has a plaque dedicated to a man called Ignatius Sancho. But what's really interesting is all our apps have got Nubian Jak carved on them. So if you go to the Foreign Office, you'll see Nubian Jak carved on the Foreign Office.
Which 3 plaques are your favourite and why?
Oh, that's a brilliant question. Okay, so the first plaque we did was to Bob Marley, where he lived in the West End, the first place he came to live in Goodge Street. I forgot the actual name of the road now actually, but that has to be one of my top 3 because that app was filmed as a BBC documentary and launched the Nubian Jak plaque scheme, and that documentary went around the world and introduced the Nubian Jak Community Trust to the world. So that would be my first. My second, I have a soft spot for football. I love football. My son played for England schoolboys, my brother played for Charlton, and I did a plaque to the first black player to put on an England shirt, and that was Laurie Cunningham. So we installed that at Leyton Orient, the football ground that he made his name, and that was wonderful because when he walked on the pitch, they gave me a standing ovation, the crowd. So I love that, and Leyton are my second team after the Arsenal. Come on! And my third favourite plaque, I have to say, go back to the Foreign Office because that is probably the highest profile plaque in the UK, and it gives me a buzz to walk past with my children and point to a African who has, for all intents and purposes, was arguably the most prominent black person in England in the 18th century, and to highlight his memory. And let me just say this, they decided to knock his house down and put the Foreign Office on the home of Ignatius Sancho, and they thought someone wouldn't come along and expose that. How stupid. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce Ignatius Sancho permanently to the world with a plaque on the Foreign Office.
To you, who is the most inspirational black figure in history?
Whew. That's a powerful one. Okay, for me, the most inspirational black figure in history is Ramesses II. Ramesses II is the person they speak in the Bible. I don't want to get too heavy because I'll tell you, when the truth has not even begun to be told to people. And there's a lot of Christians who are watching this who will not understand what I'm going to say. Ramesses II was the man who wanted to fling out the invaders of Africa, the first invaders of Africa, who were the Hyksos. And when you read in the Bible that Ramesses is at war with the Pharaoh, no, Ramesses is at war with Moses, you're talking about two black men having an argument, and you have no right taking sides. But if you're going to take sides, you got to side on the side of Ramesses, because he's fighting for African nationalism. Ramesses is one of my favourite black gods.
Lastly, how can the community get involved in the trust?
Okay, so there are so many organisations out there. The Trust is just one of a number of powerful community groups doing things. What I would like the community to do is support the first African and Caribbean War Memorial, because it's a disgrace that in the year 2015, and for all, this is a centenary after World War, it's 101 years after the start of World War One, there is not one dedicated memorial to black and to African and Caribbean soldiers who served in World War One and Two. So if the community want to do something, they could go into the books, the history books, and learn who they are. It's not about supporting me or look at who we are, because we don't know who we are. And we are, and I'm going to end with this, and this is sadly my perspective, we are the walking dead. We have no idea who we are. And the day we wake up and know who we are, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful.
Jak Beula, thank you.